Hello everyone. Today the topic of discussion is virulence factors, infections and vaccines of pneumococcus. Scientific name of pneumococcus is Streptococcus pneumoniae. So let's come to the first slide which talks about the virulence factors of pneumococcus. Pneumococcus outermost layer is polysaccharide capsule, which is lipopolysaccharide in nature, and this capsule helps to initiate infection and avoid phagocytosis. Thus, it inhibits phagocytosis and fools the immune cells. Next, in after the covering of capsule, next cover of this bacteria is cell wall. So this cell wall is providing a shape to bacteria, specific shape to bacteria, and it is resistant to lysozyme. So thus it helps in the survival of bacteria. Then coming to next, that is choline binding proteins. These proteins are anchored on cell wall, and they are important for interaction and evasion of host immunity. Thus they helps in evasion of host immunity. Coming to pneumococcal surface proteins, which are not anchored on the wall, but they are responsible for adhering to host cells and hindering the complement system. So this pneumococcal surface proteins are not anchored on the cell wall, but they are responsible for invading the adhering to the host cells and hindering the complement system to perform its function. So pneumococcal bacteria is the one, people with a defective complement system, insufficient complement system, due to n number of reasons, are more prone to pneumococcal infection. While pneumococcus hinders the complement system, but if it's properly functioning, then there will be interaction and there will be a fight of complement proteins. But those who are lacking this system, or they have insufficient complement system, then they will be more prone. And neuroaminidase protein is one which helps in colonization of bacteria. Coming to next slide, which also talks about the virulence factors. Hyaluronate lysase is one of the virulent factor, which is also called spreading factor, and this is the one which destroys the or cleaves the hyaluronate of the which is present as the extracellular matrix in connective tissue. Thus this also helps in spreading the bacteria and establishing the bacterial colony inside the host. Then pneumococcal adhesion and virulence factor, which is PAV, attaches to fibronectin and thus inhibits the immune cells. Its major function, mostly dendritic cells are the ones which are inhibited by this pneumococcal adhesion virulence factor A. Next virulence factor is enolase, which is a plasminogen binding factor, which helps in destruction of tissues. Then is autolysins, which are also acting as adherents, and autolysins are usually the endotoxin, exo, not endo, it's exotoxins. When bacteria produce these exotoxins, bacterial cell wall breaks up and thus spreading the bacterial virulence factor and establishing the colony of bacteria inside the host. Next is pneumolysins. Pneumolysins are the potent cytotoxic factors. They have potent cytotoxic activity. That means they kill the cell. And IgA protease is like scissors, which is cutting the IgA of host cells and thus limiting the immunity to develop, or limiting the immune cells to function. They are limiting the immune cells in their and hindering their function, and by not letting the immune cells to synthesize immunoglobulins. So this is the role of IgA protease. Now, what are the different infections which are caused by this pneumococcus, that is streptococcus pneumoniae? Meningitis in adults, that is the meninges are the coverings of the brain and spinal cord. So it inflammation of meninges occurs due to the infection of pneumococcus. Otitis media is caused because of pneumococcus, and that is in case of otitis media, it usually happens in kids, and the tympanum wall of the ear swells up. And I have put up image here to for you to see how the swelling of tympanum is there. You can look into. Then pneumococcus also causes community pneumonia, that is person to person spread. And pneumococcus usually colonize in nasopharynx area, and this is when a person sneezes, then person air contact and person to person contact may lead to this. Then sinusitis is also swelling of nasopharyngeal layers, which is caused by pneumococcus, and it usually occurs in adults. And sepsis was also seen in patients with sickle cell diseases. So the patients whose spleen is also not properly working, or patients which are